We're going to talk about hair types, hair color, hair length. What is a brunette? Are you guys familiar with the word brunette? When you go to the hair salon and you want to get a new hair color, you say, I want to get my hair dyed. And short hair is usually if it's around your earlobe. One of the most difficult parts about moving away, especially I would say for women, is communicating with hairstylists about what kind of style they want. Because when language is a barrier for you and you don't feel like you can express exactly what you want to another person, then you'll be stuck with a hairstyle that you might not even enjoy just because that is the only one that you know how to explain, right? We're going to talk about hair types, hair color, hair length, and we're going to talk about some hairstyles. So the first thing we're going to talk about is hair types. There are 4 different hair types, and they're differentiated based on their pattern, based on the pattern of a single strand of hair. So a strand is just one single piece of hair, one single hair. So the first hair type is straight. So straight is usually, a lot of us don't have straight hair. It's, there's no curl pattern. It just goes straight down. A straight hair type would be something like this, okay? And the second one is wavy. So wavy hairstyle is something like this. It has a little bit of a pattern, but it's nothing too noticeable. So the third and the fourth one, curly, and coily hair. They are very similar, but the difference is that curly hair is a little more loose and the curl pattern is not as closely packed together. And when it's coily hair, the patterns are really, really close together. So a lot of African hair, a lot of our hair is coily. But for our people, for most Ethiopians, we have curly to coily hair. And some people might have wavy hair. So when we talk about this, you might want to tell a hairstylist you want to get your hair straightened, or you might want to describe to them that you have very coily hair and that they need to be careful when they comb it out because coily hair can be very brittle. So brittle means easily breakable because it's already so tightly coiled. Sometimes it's hard to comb it and sometimes it's easily breakable. So you can use these words to describe your hair type. The second thing we're going to talk about is hair color. So there are basically 3 common hair colors. The first one is a brunette. What is a brunette? Are you guys familiar with the word brunette? A lot of us actually have brunette hair. So when you say brunette, you're saying dark hair. It's just, of course, there's a range. There's some really, really dark hair and there's some lighter, but it's still dark. It's mostly a range of black. So when you have black hair or dark hair, you say that you're a brunette. So I'm a brunette. I'm a natural brunette. Okay, so the second hair color that is pretty common amongst Caucasians and white people is a blonde. A blonde is straw colored, so it's kind of white. Of course, there's a range, just like the brunette, but it is closer. It's very light in color. It's whitish, and a lot of people here actually dye their hair because they want to be blonde. When you say dye, we're not saying dye as in dip. We're saying dye, D-Y-E, which is when you color hair or when you color clothing. When you're adding color to something, you say that it's dyeing, which is not painting because you're letting the material absorb the color. So you say dye. D-Y-E, dye, is for hair color. Okay, so that's another term. When you go to the hair salon and you want to get a new hair color, you say, I want to get my hair dyed blonde. Okay, so the third one, and that is not as common as the first two, is ginger. Ginger is lightish color, lightish red. It's light, and not a lot of people have this hair color. But ginger also means this. And we boil it for tea and we use it as a spice in food. But both of them, ginger and ginger, but they have different meanings. Okay, moving on to the third topic. What else are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about hair length, right? So when we talk about hair length, it sometimes differs from person to person, how they describe hair. But we have 3 types of hair. You could say 4, but we have 3 hair lengths. So the first one is short. And short hair is usually if it's around your earlobe. Your earlobe this is your earlobe. So if it's around your earlobe, it's short hair. If it's around your neck, if it's as long as your neck, then it's medium length hair. If it's shoulder length, you say you have long hair. But of course, it all depends. And you could say you have super long hair if it's past your shoulder and like down to your back, for example. So those are how you differentiate the length of hair. So when you go to the hair salon, you can tell them, oh, I want to cut my hair really short today, which means even shorter than your earlobe. It could be really cropped and close to your head. So you could say, I want to cut my hair really short. You can say, I want to get medium length hair. You can say, I want to keep my hair long. I don't want to cut it. So that's one way those are some ways of describing how long you want to keep your hair. So another thing that people confuse is when you talk about length, you use long. When you talk about everything else, you use long and versus short. When you talk about everything else, you use tall. So you say a tall building, a tall girl, a tall tail. When you say a tall tail, you're saying, oh, I doubt that that's true. You're showing disbelief and you are trying to get the message across that you don't trust what the other person is saying. But that's a lesson for another day. So you describe hair as long, medium, and short. Moving on to the next lesson. When you want to get a haircut, there are different ways of telling your hairstylist what kind of haircut you want to get. So the first one, so when we say cut, it implies that you want to take quite a bit of length off your hair, right? I want to get a haircut. It's not going to be a few inches. It's going to be quite a bit of hair. When you tell them you want to get it shortened a little bit, just so you have more volume. When we say more volume, we're saying, when your hair feels like there's a lot of hair, when you feel like it's fuller, that's volume. So you can say that you want a trim. A trim is, they only take very, very few inches or very few centimeters off your hair. So when you're keeping your length, you're keeping the length of your hair, but you're going to take off some length. There will not be noticeable change in your hair length, but you're going to get a haircut, but it's going to be very few inches. So moving on on the same topic, but not about hair. So you can say shaving. So what's shaving? Shaving is when you take off hair, but you're taking off hair from your skin. You're keeping the roots of your hair. The roots of your hair are still going to be there, but you're going to take off your hair from, it depends. It can be from your face, if you're a man, or some women also have beards. Or it can be from your armpit, it can be from your legs, your arms. So shaving is getting rid of hair, but you're still keeping the roots. 2 ways of getting rid of hair, but you're taking the hair out from the roots they're called plucking and waxing. So when you're plucking hair, you use tweezers. These are tweezers. So you use tweezers, but you're going to get rid of the hair individually, So you're pulling out the hair from the roots, but you're doing it one by one. You're getting rid of singular hairs. Every single hair you have to pull out from the roots individually. So usually you can't do this if it's for a lot of hair, right? So this is used when you're getting rid of when you're shaping your eyebrows, or when you are, sometimes women get chin hairs, they get hair on their chin, so they use tweezers to pull out the hair, and that's what we call plucking. Now, waxing is similar to plucking because you're getting rid of the hair from the roots, but the difference is that you're going to cover a lot of surface area. So wax is a sticky mixture, and you apply it to the area that you want to remove the hair from, usually your arm or your, not your head, not head hair, but other areas of your body. So you apply the wax and you let it dry, you let it sit for a few minutes, and you pull the hair out by the roots. So the difference between plucking and waxing basically is that when it's plucking, you take you remove every single hair from the roots, but when it's waxing, you apply the wax and you just pull out a bunch of hair at the same time. That's the major difference between plucking and waxing. And you don't really do these things for your hair. These are not terms that we use when we're talking about getting rid of hair on our head, but other parts of the body, eyebrows, armpit, legs, arms, stuff like that. So the other thing we're going to talk about, the most important thing we're going to talk about is hairstyle, right? So we all have a hard time explaining what kind of hairstyle we want. So we're going to talk about a few today. Okay, we're going to talk about straightening or silk press. We're going to talk about what we commonly call cusp or a blowout. We're going to talk about braids. We're going to talk about cornrows, and we're going to talk about dreadlocks, or now referred to as locks. So the first thing, getting your hair straightened, is when they use heat to change the pattern of your hair. So we have naturally curly hair, right? So when they apply heat to it, it becomes straight. It relaxes the hair, so the hair becomes straight. So getting your hair straightened, when you say, I'm going to get my hair straightened, you're saying, oh, I'm going to change the curl pattern of my hair using heat. That's the first one. The second one, what was the second one? The second one was getting a blowout. So a blowout is you're still using heat, but you're not straightening the hair, right? You're not going to make the hair straight. You're going to make it a little bit curly. So it's going to have a curl pattern. Of course, it depends what your natural hair is like, but there is you're using a comb and heat. So you're combing the hair and you're curling it, and it's going to have a curly type of style by the end. So that is a blowout. It is going to have a curl pattern, but it's not going to be as intense. It's going to be loose curls. These are generally what loose curls look like. And this is the look that a lot of people enjoy, actually. So the third one we're going to talk about is braid. Braids are very beautiful protective style. And the term braid by itself, B-R-A-I-D, braid, comes from intertwine. It means to intertwine together. So when you take locks of hair, so a strand is a single hair, and locks is a piece, like a few pieces of hair held together is a lock. So you take locks of hair and you intertwine them together. 3 or more locks of hair, actually. So when it's 3 or more locks of hair, we call it braids. So you take 3 or more locks of hair and you intertwine them and they form braids. Now, twists, on the other hand, twists are two locks of hair. You take 2 locks of hair and you intertwine them around each other, and that is, you end up with the style twist. That's another protective style that people like to use. The fourth one is cornrows. So the term cornrows, I'm sure you're familiar with it, comes from corn, or sometimes known as maize. It's a type of cereal. And the pieces of corn are symmetrically aligned on the cob, right? So a cornrow, the hairstyle, when you get cornrows, it resembles corn on the cob. So we call it cornrows. That is where the term comes from, that the term cornrows comes from corn. Okay, the last but not least, actually, this is not a hairstyle that is commonly used in our country, I would say. But I thought the story was interesting, so I'm just going to share it with you. The the term dreadlocks comes from the 19th century. And when British colonizers were fighting Kenyan warriors, their hair was matted together. So matted means when they have a bunch of hair that is like tangled and it is not easy to comb. It's just hair that is stuck together, basically. So their hair was matted. And the British colonizers felt like that was the most dreadful thing they'd ever seen. So what is dreadful? Dreadful is unpleasant to see or upsetting to look at. So they thought the hair of the Kenyan warriors was dreadful. So the term dreadlocks came from that because it's lock, like we discussed earlier, like a bunch of hair together is locks. So their hair was matted together and they thought it was dreadful. So the term dreadlocks was originated from that. And that is an offensive term. That is considered an offensive term and no longer in use. Now it's just called locks. So you can get that hairstyle as well. And it's easy to maintain, actually, so people might prefer it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed this lesson for today. And let me know what hairstyle you're currently rocking. You can use that. Or let me know what hairstyle you guys have on today. And if you're a man and you feel like this video doesn't apply to you, you can tell me what your favorite hairstyle on a woman is. So thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like and comment, and I will see you soon with more. Much love.